This is Launching Your Daughter podcast, and I'm your host, Nicole Burgess, licensed marriage and family therapist. The information shared in this podcast is not a substitute for seeking help from a licensed mental health professional. Now, here is today's episode. Episode 53. Welcome, everybody. In today's episode, I want to return to discussing budgeting, finances, and planning for your daughter. At the time of this recording, here in the United States, many high school seniors are getting ready to graduate within the next month or so. I know this can be an exciting time for many families and also can create emotions of sadness and worry. Over the last decade, I have worked with many teen girls and their parents in navigating these transitions. One specific area that I continue to discuss with parents and their daughters is budgeting. As I discussed in episode 9, if you haven't already explored your beliefs around money, I encourage you to do so you can help your daughter understand why you do what you do. So for example, parents and caregivers, what were you told about money growing up? Did you change some of your spending or saving behaviors after you were more aware of those beliefs? Many girls I have worked with over the years continue to struggle with impulse buying or having watched adults in their lives live beyond their means. If this is you, I'm not judging you, but encouraging you to take charge of your money versus letting fear, denial, or avoidance run your finances. If your daughter is in middle school right now, and you know in this moment that you will not be able to finance her college funds, tell that to her. This gives her plenty of time to get a job as she reaches the age where she's allowed to be employed. I think in most places now it's about 16. Then she can start to save for her college. If your daughter is a junior or a senior, and maybe in the past you did have some funds set aside, but an emergency happened and you had to use it, let her know that. Be open with your daughter about what you can or cannot afford to do for her to go to college. I find it really unfair when parents tell their daughters at their senior year and it's halfway through the year, oh yeah, and by the way, we can't finance anything going to college. Can she still, get a job in the summer? Yes. And then earn some money for it? Yes. But it makes it a lot more challenging. So if you know in advance, have that conversation with her. Again, that goes back to having family meetings about what you guys can and cannot do going forward. One thing I would suggest is also attend college night at your daughter's school to get support with deadlines, processes, writing letters to school, and more. I know not every high school has that, but if yours does, see if you could attend that to help her out. For your daughter, I would also ask her to speak with the school counselor, or sometimes they're called college counselors, at the high school. They can also give her some guidance on what the processes are and what she can do. More often than not anymore, I believe this process begins really in her junior year. So for her to be able to inquire, visit colleges, start to figure out where she wants to go, that would be awesome. You can also do a free application for financial student aid, or what it's called FAFSA. And I'm going to put it in the show notes, these various websites that I'm going to describe here. And FAFSA is just an application for you to apply for financial aid. And financial aid means you have to pay the money back. It's basically a loan. Whereas if your daughter applies for scholarships or grants, that's the money you don't have to repay. That's things where she can get the money that can apply for, maybe it's just school books, or maybe it's for the higher education class itself, that it will finance that. There are different scholarships for academics, sports achievements. There's specific ones for females, for minority females. If your daughter is going to be in a specific field such as technology or engineering. FastWeb website has a couple articles on scholarships just for women. So the ones I've listed, the deadline's already passed for the majority of them, but it gives you some suggestions on where you can apply and what you need to fill that out. Parents, I would also encourage you to speak with your company's human resource department to find out if there's a possible scholarship for your daughter, either for your company if it's local, or if it has a corporate level that maybe it's in a different state. Sometimes our companies, whatever city and whatever state you're in, they also give out scholarships. So can't hurt to ask. You can also check out if the college your daughter is interested in, if they gift aid funds to families. Some colleges do and some colleges don't. The thing to talk to your daughter about when you're talking about colleges, again, is what can you afford, if anything? And if not, these are some of the things that she's going to have to be prepared for. You also don't want her to go into such debt that once she graduates, she's going to be paying off that loan for the next 30 years. Some experts say you don't want her undergrad, or if she goes on to grad school, to be more than what her first year's salary would be. So again, it's really talking about what she can afford or what you all can afford together as a family without having to put her under such financial stress where she's like, it's just $30,000. And she may not make that when she first gets out of college. She may or she may not. Not all jobs are created where they pay that sort of salary right at the beginning. So if she says, I really want to go to this school, you don't have the finances to be able to afford it, she gets limited financial aid, or she's not able to get the amount gifted to her or anything like that, she could go to the local school maybe for the first 2 years and then transfer to that 4-year school. I know there's big tuition difference between going to in-state versus out-of-state. All these things need to be considered and discussed openly. Why it's so important for your daughter to actually have a budget when she goes off to college. So if your daughter's going to live on campus and her room, board, and dining are all lumped into her expenses or her cost, she's going to need additional spending money. She may have nights where she wants to go out for pizza with her friends. If she joins a sorority, there's different fees for that. And then there's the different dances, pictures, dresses, all of that add up that are not included in these other expenses. So you want to discuss a monthly dollar amount that either you will put in her savings account for her, or how much she can charge on a credit card if you're giving her a credit card, or if that she needs to get a job to help fund those things. All of this, helping her set up a budget with what her expenses are, is a life skill. If she doesn't live on campus, right, and I know for many freshmen, they do live on campus, and if she doesn't, if she's going on and off campus, she's going to have rent, she's going to have utilities, she's going to have food expenses. If she's keeping a car on campus, there's gas costs, there's car insurance. Again, have a family meeting about what cost she's going to be responsible for, and help her come up with a plan for how she's going to fund that. She will continue to use these skills once she completes college, and if she doesn't come back home, if she moves out on her own, she'll have these money management skills that you've helped teach her. The job can not only help her with time management, but also gain a better understanding how much it takes, the time and effort that it takes to make and also save money. And as I said earlier, have a limit on how much debt she can take on. I know for many girls are like, $30,000 isn't that big of a deal. And it really is. You don't want her to have such a huge debt once she graduates college. On each college website, from my understanding, there is now a thing called Net Price Calculator. So check that out. This could be a guide for what it's going to cost for her to go to that college. Now, it's not a guaranteed cost, just to give you a heads up on that, but it at least gives you an idea. Again, I'm not an expert in college stuff regarding what's available, what's not available. These are just some ideas and things. It's more about helping her, set her up to succeed for how to manage her money, what she needs to plan for when she's getting ready to go off to college. The other thing, parents and caregivers, is, not rescuing her if she, goes over her budget or exceeds her limits. Discuss expectations and consequences if your daughter takes her savings account into the red or is overdrawn, or she uses the credit card for something other than agreed upon. Does she need to pay the fines at the bank, or will she pay you back? If she continues the same behavior, what is the plan? is that, you don't want to enable a negative behavior because she's going to have, again, this skill for the rest of her life. So if you constantly rescue her from overdrawing her account or creating such a high amount of debt within her credit card that she can't pay it off every single month, that will truly continue on into adulthood. And you don't want that to, if at all possible, you really don't want to enable that behavior. You want to come up with a plan for saying, hey, here's what's going to happen if you do this behavior. Here's what, we will do to help or not help. You'll have to go over that with her. I often hear parents rationalize, oh, it's okay if they're paying for items that their daughter wants, but then they can't afford it or put them in, and it puts them into the red. Creating a budget keeps healthy boundaries around spending and money management. It also helps letting go of keeping up with everybody else, your neighbors, as the saying goes, keeping up with the Joneses or the Smiths. And it helps you stay out of debt. One thing I can't stress enough for parents is there are no loans for retirement. So all the financial planners I have ever spoken to, they say, parents need to be able to put money back first for their retirement. Then again, your normal expenses and things like that. Then if you can save money for your daughter, great. So if you've got a really young daughter, talk to a financial planner, talk to an accountant about setting up maybe a 529 or other accounts that you can slowly put money back for her college tuition if that's what you want to do. But the first thing you have to do is honestly pay yourself, and that means put money aside for retirement. I know that's not always the easy thing to hear, nor is it always what folks want to hear. But for parents, your kids eventually will leave and they will go off and they will be leading their own life. And you got to make sure you've got something set aside for yourself. Again, in the show notes, I'll have things listed for the FAFSA website, the scholarship website, some articles about where you can get some scholarships specifically for females, and other scholarships that go into maybe some specific areas like STEM, things like that. So I hope you found this episode helpful. Again, I want to encourage you to go back and, if you haven't already, listen to the creating a budget with your daughter, which is episode 9, or listening to the family meeting, which was really early on, so that you can set that up and go over that information with your daughter, and you all can feel like you're all on the same page. If you haven't already, I invite you to go out to launchingyourdaughter.com, and you can sign up for the newsletter for some upcoming events that are going on and some online events that are going to be happening here soon. Otherwise, I really would love to have some more ratings and reviews out there on iTunes. That always helps with the ranking, and it gets it seen a little more for everybody else that's out there on iTunes. I really appreciate all the ongoing support, and I hope you found this helpful, and take care. Thank you for listening to Launching Your Daughter with Nicole Burgess, licensed marriage and family therapist. For more information or to stay up to date, go to launchingyourdaughter.com. You can sign up for my email list or join my Facebook group. Thank you.